He brings over 20 years of distinguished experience across Marine Corps Special Operations, Joint Special Operations Command's Scope Cell, which is a big data targeting capability, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, and the U.S. Department of State Diplomatic Security. He was a co-creator of the Marine Corps Special Operations Command's Multidiscipline Intel Operator course and has served as an NGA technology advisor and data science integrator for U.S. Special Operations Command headquarters. Currently, he supports the Ukrainian National Police's War Crimes Division as an intelligence advisor and is the creator of JCTM's Advanced AI Command course. I think the timing of Ben coming up and following Jeremy is that Jeremy identified the challenges with the training pipelines for understanding AI, becoming an expert for implementation across the joint staff. Ben had the vision from his really passion of understanding artificial intelligence and his insight to recognize that the training aspect, the people aspect of the people, processes, and things, triumvirate for capabilities, he saw that capability gap. So he spearheaded the development of a series of training capabilities, from half-day executive seminars to 4-day, very hands-on, heavy practical application workshops to train the workforce on understanding and leveraging AI in their daily operations in space. Ben, welcome.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Carl. Thank you to the Threat Tech team for allowing me the opportunity. So you cut off some time. I don't have to introduce myself, and I appreciate that. To start things off, I think everybody understands that brilliance in the basics is the foundation of everything that becomes advanced in the future. Right? If you don't understand the basics, it's very hard to progress into the advanced technologies or the advanced capabilities without stumbling too far, right? And I believe that when it comes to generative AI, if you have a user interface that utilizes natural language processing, prompt engineering is that foundational soft skill that's needed. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. Your 3 key takeaways. Prompt engineering is essential to achieving true AI competency. That's kind of the mandate within US government, specifically within the Department of Defense. An AI competent workforce enhances decision-making and operational efficiency across military functions. And lastly, but most important, is investing in prompt engineering training fosters a culture of innovation. Empowers the force to leverage AI and stay ahead of evolving challenges. So if you leave without understanding or remembering anything, those 3 things you should remember. I like talking in stories. Stories tell a lot about who you are, where you come from, and narrate complex topics. So I'm going to start when I first joined the Marine Corps. I was a geographic or topographic intelligence specialist over at Fort Belvoir, and part of that training was geodetic survey. When I went through, we started with mechanical theodolites, Philadelphia rods, chains on the ground. All of these things, we had to do manual math on front and back piece of paper to get the angles and measurements and everything like that to get proper cartographic information. That progressed into an electronic total station, which took all those manual things and connected it to a button. Now you don't have to do that math, it does it for you. Introduce remote sensing utilizing satellite imagery and ArcGIS, GIS software, geographic information software. You now have a button that you click in software, and it can do a whole host of workflows for you. Advance beyond that, where we're at now, you can take Python scripting and create a custom tool for what you need. Why does that matter? When you write code, you have to understand the math. You have to understand the foundations of what gets you there. Without that, you're not going to be able to direct the computer the way that you need to. So it all came back around to learning that mechanical theodolite, the angles, the Philadelphia rods, All of those things allowed me to master the creation of a computer script to do what used to take me hours, now with a click of a button. So what is AI prompting, or prompt engineering? Prompt engineering is more than just entering text into an AI system. It's the skill of crafting inputs that guide AI towards a mission-aligned output. Think of it as actively engaging the technology that's around you. You're not passively ingesting it. You're not just clicking a button and trusting what it is. You are writing out commands to this system at a very specific and clear way to get an output that you want. It allows you to be an active user and not a passive user. So why is it important? When you talk about the massive capability that a large language model provides to you, it can only be maximized by understanding how to control it. And you'll kind of understand throughout this whole thing that my core belief is foundational soft skills training. People, processes, and things. My thing is people. You have to train a competent workforce on how to leverage this amazing new capability. Without that, you're really not going to be able to function at the level in which you could. And that crucial leap forward in operational competency is how the workforces can utilize these models with the proper prompt engineering prompt patterns. Now let me take you into the future. You're at a military training school, a schoolhouse. You have instructors that have a lot of data that they collect at the end of instruction. You have student feedback forms. You have to do evaluations. You have to do curriculum review. Every year you should be doing a course curriculum review board. This sometimes can be 2-week evolutions. It could take you an entire weekend of staying up and working for 10 hours each day to parse through all the feedback from your students. You could be the reporting senior on a fitness report or an eval, and you have 20 military members, Marines, soldiers, whoever, that you have to write on, and you don't have immediate daily interaction with them to truly be able to score them and rank them. Imagine you take all of that documentation that you have, you upload it into the large language model, and then you utilize the power of the different prompt patterns to really surgically refine what you have. So this instructor in the future would put in all of the student feedback forms. And using a prompt pattern, say, analyze these student feedback forms. This is the objective of the course. And these are the student feedback forms. Please identify trends in the feedback on the course that are both negative and positive. And it can process that. It could give you feedback. And you can have a continuation in the chain of command, or the chain of thought conversation, and say, okay, further refine this and tell me, based off of this feedback and what you've identified as the priorities here, recommend changes that I can implement immediately. And you can take all of that and continue down the conversation, and you're asking very specific things. Your administrative work is terribly annoying, but it's mundane, it's potentially complex. And those things that you're doing that takes 2 days, writing an award. How much time do senior leaders not want to spend on awards? It's one thing you don't have to do, but you should. So you could take the actions that have been provided in the fitness reports by these service members. You can just word vomit onto a page, and you have it analyze all this information and then provide a write-out. I have personally seen a very well-constructed prompt that squirts out a certificate accommodation in less than 3 minutes. It went from, here's all the stuff that's been done, fitness reports, a slight narrative by that officer, and boom, in the format that it needs, with the language that's very specific to the process, and approved. So that is the power of what you can do with proper prompt engineering. So why does it matter to the military at large? Everybody's already looking forward, as we've seen, on AI integration. What do you need it for? How do you need it? From my perspective, the true benefit is you're training the force. You're not just giving it a tool. You're training the force to become AI competent. If you're interacting with it in any way, shape, or form, you have to understand that computer language that it's receiving it in. And that's truly what a prompt pattern is. It's how do you structure your prompt in a way that most efficiently gets a very refined answer without continuing down 5, 10, 15 minutes of, hey, that's not right, change this, and so on. So it really should be the foundation of your training. Let's go back into the future and, a topic, close to me, intelligence, but this can go across all your different warfighting functions, your operations, your logistics, your communications, your administrative work, all of those things. You have an analyst's task or an analyst team that's tasked with completing an entire intelligence cycle. You start with your commander's intent, your CCIRs, so your commander's critical information requirements. These are the foundation points that you as an intelligence professional must break down. You have your priority information requirements, priority intelligence requirements that you base everything off of. And in your planning and direction phase, you start lining these things out. They're associated directly with the CCIRs for the commander. As you're working through this, you can tell the model, hey, acting as an expert in priority information requirements, I want you to guide me through the process of creating 5 very relevant PIRs that we can start developing off of. And that then gets into refinement into your SIRs and your EEIs, which are the essential elements of information and triggers that you then take into your collection phase. You have a conversation with the model and you're saying, okay, I want you to only provide me information in this area. So that's a semantic filter prompt pattern. And then a context manager. And what that does is you could say, I am focused on region X, military movements in region X. That is now going to the model to only provide you relevant information in region X and nothing outside of that. And it will go through and it'll filter out the noise, reduce the information overload, and then with an infinite generation prompt pattern, it can suggest additional data sources, broadening their network of collection. So now you've gone through the collection requirements that you could rack and stack in priority according to your CCIRs, and then you've been able to refine that to the area that you want to collect on. And then you could start identifying how and what sensors or platforms you're going to use to do that. And that's all, going through and using your different patterns. You are the subject matter expert, and this is a tool that you use. It is nothing more than a tool that makes you that much better. You still have to interact with it. You cannot be a passive user. You move on into the processing and exploitation. You can have a reflection prompt pattern and a fact checklist pattern to refine the data handling and ensure its accuracy. You could prompt it with, evaluate the effectiveness of our data processing approach for region X. And it can provide improvements, suggestions. It can provide the clarity that you need. Ultimately, keeps you from going down a rabbit hole and missing the whole purpose from your CCIR. And then in analysis and production, the alternative approaches and cognitive verifier combined with your structured analytic techniques is very powerful. You're going to be able to say things like, provide different structured analytic technique methods for analyzing patterns in recent troop movements in region X. Now, you say, okay, why can I not just do this on my own? Well, imagine this. You're swimming in sensors and you're drowning in data. How else are you supposed to process all of that in a timely manner, especially in a near-peer fight when you have to be reactive immediately or as fast as you possibly can with as much accuracy? Prompt engineering. That will get you that answer really quick. Whether you are the expert or you're a watch officer on the watch floor and the intel officer's gone, the commander has to a very clear answer. You could give it a persona, say, hey, you are the intelligence officer specialty in region X. This is the question that my commander has given to me. Provide me a quick executive summary of what could answer that question in this format. You could also put in your commander's personality, the way that they want to receive information, their historical answers to questions, and really personalize it into that. This is the power of prompt engineering. And finally, in your dissemination method, if you have a format that you want it in, you could use a template pattern, and that template pattern will be repeatable. You give it prompt like placeholders, and you fill the placeholders in, and then you give it prompt to do the analysis using whatever techniques you want. And then when you push it, when you get the final answer, it's in the format. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's really, really powerful. So beyond operational benefits, prompt engineering really, to be good at it, it ensures your ethical AI use. When you think about guardrails, when you think about the security that's there, if you are interacting with a system that might lack the guardrails like a commercial system has, then it's on you to understand the rule of law, what organizations' restrictions are, and all of the factors that align you with your company's ethics or with your organization's ethics. Unless you understand how to properly prompt that AI and understand what its answer is in conjunction with your ethics, then you could be irresponsibly using that AI. So at its foundational core, if you understand how to prompt a language model and you understand what your limits are, you can have it fact check the answers against the ethics and laws that you're required to follow. So investing in prompt engineering also builds a culture of innovation. This is the key point in a point in time in our DoD with a paradigm shift. We're going from hardware, software with maybe training on the back end, like, hey, it'll get there eventually, but let's get them, field them the software and the hardware right now, to you now have, to put it into an analogy, you have an M16A2 rifle with no scope. You understand what your sight picture is, and you understand a smooth, steady trigger pull, and you are essentially set for success for any future weapon systems you handle. That foundational knowledge is why you're able to experiment, provide adaptability, and enhance the learning you have. And it's crucial for maintaining our strategic edge. And that strategic edge is what's going to advance technology. If we're not doing it now, the risk of getting so far down the road without proper training is almost failure. So you have to have that paradigm shift now. At JCTM, we've identified that capability gap and created the A2C2, or Advanced AI Command Course. And our mission with the Advanced AI Command Course is to equip government workforces with advanced prompt engineering skills through a progressively advanced curriculum, empowering them to achieve immediate and strategic success. If you want to talk about this more in depth, please, I'd love to get up with you afterwards, and you could take a look at the 3 courses that we offer. But at the end of the day, as we look forward into the future where AI plays an increasingly prominent role, I really want us to commit to not just integrating AI, but equipping the service member with the skills to wield that AI to its fullest potential. So with prompt engineering, we're not just enabling better technology, we're building a smarter, more capable, and more responsive force. So I hope that's to you on the skill of prompt engineering and how it can really push the boundaries of what's possible here. The sky's the limit. Your imagination is your only limiting factor. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.